They say the best investments you can make is an investment in yourself. So let's set it. Yeah, I'm the blue check. I'm a problem, I'm a nuisance. Ever since I put in my 2 cents, I let the investment build and niggas hip hop just to get my dad some bills. They say it's suicide.
Hey everyone, welcome back. B&B's Football Happy Hour. We're back. We're bearded. We're beautiful. I'm Bobby. That's Brian.
What's up? Glad to be back for what's this, number 11 now. So starting to build a little database of content here.
That's right. Exciting show for y'all. We have our bold predictions for this season coming up. And I decided, Brian, I think I went a little too bold with my predictions. We'll see what you think. And then we have two amazing guests with us. Doug Weatherholtz is coming on to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we have JJ, help me out here, Slesarski,
yeah, that'll work.
All right. He's coming on to gab a little bit about his Green Bay Packers. So I'm pretty pumped about this show, buddy.
Yep, should be a good one. Coming off a pretty good show last week with old Terrence Copper. So.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we have another big guy in the works. We'll kind of hint about that maybe towards the end and do a little Facebook teaser during the week. But
So are you telling me we may have another NFL guest coming on next week?
So far it's confirmed, yeah, unless he pulls out on us.
Okay.
Another 7-year NFL vet, Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl champ. I like the sounds of that.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll rock that ring on the show.
Yeah, I might have to message him. Yeah, I might tell him to flash it for us. Yeah, that'll be a good one.
As always, music brought to us by Dunson, our Grammy-nominated friend of the show. So thank him for that.
Yep. Then we finally made it over 500 people to the Facebook page. I think we're at 509 or 10.
Yeah, we made a nice push there. We made a nice push since last week.
We did make a nice little push this week. Must have been the good episode last week. We got a lot of feedback. So
must have been our friend Terrence Copper. Man, my phone was blowing up about that episode, man. People were loving it. So if y'all are listening right now and you haven't listened to our previous episodes, check them all out. I know we're on Podbean and obviously we're on Facebook. But definitely that's last episode 10 with Terrence Copper was, man, that's the best one yet, man.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff. He's just the first of many. And we went and reached out to him again, dropped off a shirt to him. And it looks like he's down to come on anytime. And he said he's got a ton of stories. Ton of stories for us. So it'll be good to have him back on in a couple months maybe.
Oh, yeah. All right, dude. I'm excited for this bold predictions, but I'm telling you, I may have gone a little too bold.
Right.
And we're just going to jump right in the deep end here with this one. My first prediction is that Evan Ingram will be a top 10 wide receiver this year. I know he's a tight end, but when we get to the end of the year and we look at our top 10 receiving options, who has the most yards on the season, Evan Ingram is going to be there. Now, Evan Ingram's been in the league for 3 years. He only has a total of 1,700 yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
That's not much, man. He's also only played in a 34 of possible 48 games. He's hurt all the time. Even right now, he's dealing with a Liz Frank injury, which is horrifying for any football player. The most yards he's had in a single season, it was his rookie year. He got 722. So I'm basically predicting two things here. Number one, most importantly, is that Evan Ingram stays healthy. Number two, he becomes a go-to receiver for Daniel Jones and the G-men. Now, I don't think there's any argument that Ingram doesn't have the physical tools to be a top 10 guy. I mean, the dude hit like 10.5 in the broad jump at the combine and ran a 4.42 40. That's flying for a wide receiver, let alone a tight end. And don't get me wrong. I know coming back from a Liz Frank, it's going to be tough. He is running. There's a video came out, I think, today of him running. It's the first time we've seen him do that. We don't have much time till the season starts. But, again, these are bold predictions.
Yeah.
Not weak predictions, bold predictions. Another thing that Evan Ingram has going for him is he has a new offensive coordinator in New York. And I don't know if you've heard of Jason Garrett. But that guy sure likes throwing to his tight ends. He liked throwing to Jason Witten.
Mhm.
So why not throw the ball to a tight end that's a sports car when Jason Witten was like a four-door family sedan? What do you think, man? Is that too bold?
Maybe for me, that might be a little bold for me. I do like Evan Ingram.
It might be too bold for me too.
I know I like Evan Ingram. I mean, he has the skill, like you said. Though it's just he hasn't really shown us he could play the full year, and to be top 10 in the league in yards, I mean, he's going to need what, at least like 12 or 1,300 yards probably to be in the top 10. You would
So
think.
I look back to like 2012 or 13, and I think only 4 guys have done it from the tight end spot.
Yeah.
It was Gronk, it was Kelsey and Kittle, obviously, and I think another Jimmy Graham snuck in there back when he was with the Saints.
Yeah.
So I mean, it has been done before. It's difficult, but I mean, he definitely has the physical tools to get it done. But gosh, that guy has got to get on and stay on the field.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, he's not even sniffing that unless he plays 16 games. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, that one year in 2018, Ertz had like 116 catches. He only had like 1,150 yards or something like that. So.
Yeah, but they were throwing in the ball 3 yards down the field. I mean, Evan Ingram, he's as athletic as Ertz is. Evan Ingram is definitely more of an athlete than Ertz.
I could see it happen. I could see it happening if he stays healthy and if maybe if Barkley were to miss a few games like last year, because he catches a lot of passes. So I mean, maybe if Barkley were to go out with like a concussion or something for a few weeks, maybe he could rack up some numbers there. But yeah, I mean, it could happen. I don't know.
The Giants receiving core too is like it helps him and hurts him at the same time because they have a lot of different options. You got Darius Slay, you got Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, like you said, Barkley. But at the same time, none of those guys are, big names. They don't scare anyone. So it's not like, they don't have a Odell Beckham who they're going to feed the ball to every single game. It's going to get divvied up. So if he can step up and be that go-to receiver for Daniel Jones, then he's got a shot.
Yeah. Okay. It's bold, but we'll roll with it. That's a segment right here.
All of mine, man. All of mine.
Let's see. I've had a few, man. I had to change a few. Once Cam signing with the Patriots, kind of.
You texted me right away. It was like, man, I got to change this.
I forgot about it. Then I pulled up my notes, and I was like, man, I can't roll with this. I don't know. We'll see. Not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I had to. From what I had, I think it needs to be changed now that you have Cam instead of Stidham. So.
Well, let's hear what you got.
All right, my first one here is going down to Tampa Bay. All right. Mr. Tom Brady is going to lead the NFL in touchdown passes next year. All right.
Ooh, okay.
It's something he's done before, not since 2011. So he's done it before. It's been almost 10 years. It's been almost 10 years since he's done it. Now, I was kind of teetering with this one. This is the one I added in late here. This was my substitution one here. But, yeah, there's a little rumor online. Maybe Antonio Brown might be signing with the Buccaneers possibly. So,
oh, gosh.
If that happens, I feel really good about this. But even without it, I mean, you look at Gronk. I mean, we've talked about him before. We've already who was it, Phil, right? We've already broken down the Bucs a little bit. But, I mean, You have Gronk, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I mean, like we've talked about before, their running game pretty much stinks. So I think he's going to be throwing the ball a lot. And then I just had to look at last year, Lamar Jackson led the NFL with 36. All right. Jameis Winston was only 3 behind with 33. And if that dude doesn't throw 30 picks, I mean, he probably would have led the NFL in touchdowns too. So I don't know. Brady doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He had eight picks last year. So, I mean, if he throws another 8 picks next year, I mean, I look for him to throw at least 38 to 40 touchdowns probably.
All right. So my first thought when you dropped that was, 2011. That's a long time ago. Brady's he's an old man now. He's in his 40s. Mm-hmm. Now, if they do sign AB, then that's money in the bank there. But you got me with that Jameis Winston deal about him only being 3 touchdown passes behind Lamar and having 30 interceptions. I mean, you're right. If he throws 20 interceptions, then surely 10 of those drives that he ruined are going to, of those 10, there's going to be at least 3 or 4 end up as touchdowns, which could be passes by him. So you're probably right with that, man.
And he's got Gronk, he's got Evans, Godwin. They still have who they
O.J. Howard,
O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate. I mean, it's probably the most weapons he's ever had as far as receiving core, like pass catchers. I mean,
oh yeah.
He used to have Randy Moss back in the day, and then you had those other like
Edelman,
and those guys.
It was Moss and Welker, right? Wasn't Welker there then?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, he's got 4 or 5 targets, and
right.
I mean, Winston threw. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he put up the stats last year, but everybody. I mean, he kind of with those 30 picks. I mean, it's just hard to have him start on your team. But he had 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. So if Brady throws 10 touchdowns, man, I think he throws 38 to 40 touchdowns probably, but only the 10 picks probably. That'd be good.
I can definitely see that happen. That's a good one. All right. So my second one, Calvin Ridley will finish with more receiving yards than Julio Jones. Right. Blasphemy, I know. The last time Julio Jones didn't lead the Falcons in receiving yards was 2013. Do you know who did it then?
The Falcons? 2013. Yeah. I don't know. 2013.
Harry Douglas.
I forgot he was. I don't know. Yeah.
I know.
That's a name I forgot.
I know. But since then, Julio Jones has been head and shoulders, probably knees and toes above everyone else. In 2015, he had 1,200 more yards than the next closest guy. Even last year, he had 500 more yards than Ridley had, and Ridley was second on the team. But every torch has to be passed, and Ridley's been ascending in his own right, his couple years in the league, and Father Time, except for Tom Brady, Father Time gets us all. Last year, Ridley had less catches than Julio, but their average yards per catch were almost identical. I think Julio was 14.1 and Calvin Ridley was like 13.8 yards a catch, something along those lines. Yeah. So a few less passes Julio's way, a few more passes Ridley's way. And, him and Matt Ryan, they have another year under their belt. I don't know if they've been thrown in the offseason like, some other teams have been. Hopefully they are, so Matt Ryan gets a little more comfortable with him. But I can see the tables turning down there in Atlanta. And eventually it won't be Julio's name on top of the receiving charts there in Georgia. And this could be the year Calvin Ridley takes over.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, like you said, everybody's down for if Julio just has a little bit of a down year, like you said, I mean, that gap just tightens up. And Ridley's a guy, I mean, he's a young kid. He's fast. I mean, he separates. Julio's a big guy, big-bodied guy. He is fast, but, I mean, he doesn't burn you down the field. I mean, he's more of a go over top of you kind of guy.
Hands. Gosh, he's got some hands.
Yeah, I mean, I love both guys. But, yeah, I could definitely see Ridley maybe, just like you said, getting a few more targets. And then, next thing you know, in a couple of years, like you said, Ridley's the guy. Kind of like Arizona. I mean, Fitzgerald's been there. But,
right.
He just starts to slow down a little bit, and not saying he's going to be Julio's a bum, but, yeah, I mean, it could just be Ridley. Ridley could be the threat. I mean, and Julio's just that veteran out there just kind of, doing his thing, but not putting up the 1,500 and 1,600 yard seasons like he did when he was younger. So I can see that one.
Yeah, I mean, Julio's, he's a beast. And he's got to end up in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best wide receivers I've ever seen take the field. Maybe just behind Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson's probably the best receiver I've ever seen play. And Julio might be right behind him. But, you can't do it forever. And Calvin Ridley, he's good. He's solid. And just like the Buccaneers who we're talking about, the Falcons, they have a lot of weapons too. I mean, they got, like I said, like we talked earlier, they signed Todd Gurley. He can catch the ball out of the backfield too. Plus, they got Hayden Hurst in there now. So, I don't know. We could see. Let's see. I'm excited. Calvin Ridley, he's going to have one heck of a season, my friend.
Little fantasy sleeper right there, huh? Little Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, don't tell the other guys in my fantasy. Don't tell the guys in my fantasy leagues though.
Yeah, we'll see if they listen or not. We'll see. See if they're high on him. All right, my next one is more of a team pick here. I didn't want to go all individual guys. So my team here, I got the Rams going 3-13 this year and getting the second overall pick in the draft next year. All right.
Okay. All right. I got to time out real quick. If they're getting the second overall pick at 3 and 13, who's getting the first overall pick?
See, that was a tough one. I either got Carolina, Washington, or Jacksonville, possibly.
Poor Panthers. Jacksonville. Oh man. Gosh, you gotta tell Doug you feel that way, man. He's gonna get upset here later on in the show.
I mean, Jacksonville maybe 2 and 14, 3 and 13. I don't know.
Oof.
I don't know.
Man, that's rough. All right. Tell me why.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Rams, I think they're on the steep decline here. I mean, Goff, he's average at best. He's going to be Goff. They lost a bunch of guys on defense. You got Corey Littleton, Dante Fowler, Todd Gurley is gone. I mean, they lost their damn kicker, Greg Zuerlein. He left. I mean, Goff is who he is. I just look at the division.
I lost their kicker.
They even lost their kicker. I mean, I look at their division though. All right, so the NFC West. I mean, this kind of had a lot to do with it. I mean, that could be probably the best division in the NFL. I mean, you got
there's no probably about it, man.
Yeah.
They're good.
So you got 6 games against Seahawks, 49ers, and Cardinals, who we're high on this year. So there's your 6 games this year, just with your division opponents. I took a look at some of the other teams. So they play the NFC East. So you got Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Redskins. Okay. Eagles and Cowboys are tough games. They also play the Bills, the Dolphins, the Buccaneers, the Patriots. So, and the Patriots with them just signing Cam Newton, I mean, that's another – they probably thought that was a win this year. So, I don't know, man. I have them maybe winning one of those division games, maybe beating the Giants and Redskins, and that's it, dude. Just going back to being the Rams. The Rams being the Rams. That's it.
And honestly, man, the weird thing about especially the Giants, it's like they could go 4 and 12, but one of those games they put it all together, and it's like
it could be that week,
one of their wins is against some great team because they have the talent and everything, but
tough schedule.
Ooh, gosh, 3 and 13 with the Rams. That's okay.
Tough schedule. I don't like it.
They were in the Super Bowl.
A couple years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, the Jags should have made the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and they're.
So the Rams, they sold out in free agency and did everything they could, free agency plus trades to win now. They knew they had a couple years ago they had a cheap quarterback in Jared Goff, and before they gave him the extension, and they went hard for the Super Bowl and they made it. Now they obviously didn't win, but the penalty that they are paying for going in the win now mode is big time because. Yeah. Man, 3 and 13. Whew, I'm not going to bet that that's going to happen, but I'm certainly not going to bet against it.
Yeah, I mean, then if if they go 3 and 13 and you're sitting there with the top 2 or 3 pick, I mean, are they taking?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. You have to.
Yeah, if Lawrence doesn't go 1, are they taking him? Are they taking Fields from Ohio State? I mean, are they turning the leaf, trading Goff? I don't know. I mean, you still have Aaron Donald, but that's about it. I mean, who's their running back? I don't even know their running back.
Well, they drafted Cam Akers, who everyone seems to love. I mean, I am not on the Cam Akers bandwagon yet. I mean, maybe I need to watch some more film, something like that. Darrell Henderson he's not the answer, but I don't know.
I mean, you don't really have much of a running game. The receivers, they're kind of. I mean, they got Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. Yeah, Cooper Kupp.
They got 2 tight ends, Higbee. They're going to run a lot of 12 personnel this year, a lot of 12. They're going to have Gerald Everett and Tyler Higbee on the field at the same time, which may help the running game. You got 2 tight ends out there. You can run, pass, whatever you want to do out of that set, with those 2 athletic tight ends. So,
yeah, I just think they have tough schedule. I think they're just going to drop the ball this year.
I can see it for sure. All right. My last one. Lamar Jackson throws for less than 2,750 yards. He rushes for less than 600 yards. And for the trifecta, the Baltimore Ravens miss the playoffs. Now, I am sure this is bound to ruffle a few feathers with quite a few of our listeners. But look, Lamar Jackson, He set the world on fire last year, and it's extremely difficult to repeat that. In the history of the NFL, there's only been 4 people win back-to-back MVPs. Jim Brown did it 50, 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Montana did it. Brett Favre did it 3 times back-to-back-to-back. And then the last one to do it was Peyton Manning in 2008, 2009. 2 years ago, old Patty Mahomes, who we've discussed a time or two, he burst on the scene with 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. A year later, 4,000 yards and only 26 touchdowns. So we're talking 1,000 less yards and basically half the touchdowns. It's a huge drop-off. NFL defensive coaches, they're not idiots, especially during this quarantine time. They've had nothing to do but hole up in their houses and watch video on Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, find ways to expose the weaknesses. Plus, in my opinion, every team in the AFC North has gotten better. I don't care if it's the Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns. I think they've all improved. So right now, Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, they're fighting against history. They're fighting against defensive coaching staffs who have had months of extra time to watch film and a revamped division. So it's going to be a lot tougher for the Ravens to redo what they did this year, next year. And I don't know, man. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that. I agree with you. I'm sure old Kevin won't agree with you on that. We might have to have him back on next week. I'm sure he'll let us know on Facebook what he thinks about that. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Yeah, like you said, he just lit the world on fire last year, so it's just tough to do that again. Plus, this year is just so weird with the whole, coronavirus deal. So it's just, who knows? I mean, who knows what Lamar's going to do? I'm sure he's still in shape, but it's just like you said, everybody else has had time just to sit there. I mean, those coaches have nothing else to do, so I'm sure they're finding a way to, corral old Lamar and figure out a way to stop him. Plus, I think, Mark Ingram, I think he's going to be down next year too. It's going to hurt. I know they drafted Dobbins, but I just think, I could see Lamar just having kind of an average year next year.
Yep, that's my
tough.
point.
It's just tough, yeah. That's tough.
And I saw a graphic today. I think it was on ESPN, and it was talking about Cam Newton. Since 2011, so we're talking 8-9 years ago, it showed the top 3 quarterbacks in rushing, and Cam Newton was obviously number 1, and there was 2 and 3, and whoever was third had 2,300 yards rushing as a quarterback since 2011. And I'm sitting there doing the math in my head, and I'm like, Lamar Jackson's got to be 4th, and he's only been in the league for 2 years. I mean, you can't run that much and, have defenses not pick up on it. Now, Kevin had, like you mentioned him earlier, he had mentioned something on Facebook when I posted about our bold predictions, Lamar hurt. And I will never predict an injury. But a quarterback just can't continue to take those carries and take those hits and things. And when we had Kevin on, he had a great stat for how many big hits Lamar didn't take, which is, and honestly, I hope I am wrong on this one, and I hope Lamar can continue, because he is a joy to watch on the field. I just can't see him having a record-setting year 2 years in a row.
Yeah, Kevin did bring some good stats. Doesn't matter how many you avoid, though, it only takes one. So we'll see. I don't want to predict the injury, but
no, never.
But yeah,
I just think defensive coaches they're going to catch up. They'll figure it out.
And like you said, I mean,
they're paid millions of dollars to figure it out. They'll get it.
And like you said, everybody I think in that division is better. I mean, even the Bengals. So,
yep.
I don't know. Closer games, maybe you have to throw a little more. He's not running all over the field. They're kind of doing some different things. So, yeah, I can see that happening. All right, so my third and final pick here, I'm going to go with a team that we follow here dearly, the Eagles. Going with – now, I'm not predicting anything for them. I'm going with Miles Sanders here. Now, this guy's came out and said he's going to win the MVP. I love the confidence. I'm not predicting that, but I do love the confidence. You got to believe in yourself. All right. I'm going to go with Miles Sanders being the first Eagle to rush for over 1,000 yards since Shady McCoy in 14. So I think Miles Sanders has 1,100 yards rushing next year, along with 750 receiving yards. I think he is the main focus on our offense right now. I mean, his backup is Boston Scott. I mean, a guy who's 5'6", came off the practice squad. Well, I'm not going to say he's terrible, but I mean, he's not the guy. I mean, Miles Sanders is the offense. All right, you're not going to have Alshon Jeffrey out there. You still got your guy Deshaun. You got Jalen Reagor. You got Ertz. You got all those guys. I just think Peterson loves Miles Sanders, and he's just going to be the workhorse this year. I just think he's going to be the guy. I looked at some stats. Comparing rookie years, he had pretty similar stats to McCaffrey rookie year-wise, with rushing yards, receiving yards. He's not going to be –
Don't do that to Miles.
He's not going to be that yet, but I think he could be. I mean, last year he led all rookies with yards from scrimmage. He had over 1,300 yards from scrimmage last year. He had more than first-round pick Josh Jacobs. So I think Sanders takes that next step. I think he's going to get over 1,100 yards rushing, and I think he'll catch 65, 70 passes for about 700 to 750 yards.
So I definitely think that Miles has the skill set to do that. I mean, obviously he's shown he can run. He's shown he can catch the ball. He really kicked it in. I mean, most of his stats I feel like came in the second half of the year when they, started giving him more prominent role in the offense.
Yeah, I looked
now.
It
up. I'm not sure. I mean, Doug Peterson doesn't really like a workhorse back. I mean, he's never been known. Same with Andy Reid, really, minus Brian Westbrook. He's never really focused on one back with all the carries. And Boston Scott showed well last year. I hope and I would love to see Miles Sanders blow up for 1,850 yards and, maybe double-digit touchdowns. We'll see.
I'm not saying he's going to carry it like Derrick Henry, but I just think this year he's just going to – some of those runs, I think he's just going to break some of those runs this year, and he'll get those 100, 150 yards, I think, in those games on 18, 19 carries. So
so 18, 19 carries, I think, 5-6 catches a game?
Yeah. And like you said, last year, I looked it up. I mean, for our fantasy football players, he was the number 3 running back in fantasy from weeks 11 to 16. So, I mean, he put up those numbers late in the year. So that's your, that's your end of the year in fantasy, and that's your playoffs right there. So
that's a league winner in fantasy for sure.
Could be another. You get your boy Calvin Ridley, you get Miles Sanders, you could be just cruising to a championship.
There you go. All right, I'll have to move Miles Sanders up my draft board then.
Yeah, just don't put him up. Don't put him up ahead of McCaffrey just yet. Not yet.
Okay, we'll wait a year or two.
Wait a year. We'll give him a year.
All right, bold man. I like it.
Yep, good stuff.
All right, let's work on getting our first guest on, Doug Weatherholtz. Yep. All right, there he is, Doug Weatherholtz. Do us a favor here, man. Say hello. Tell us where you're at and why you're a Jaguars fan.
Well, I'm currently at work at my place of employment, the Island Green, and I'm a Jaguars fan. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. I was originally a Buffalo Bills fan my entire life. Yes, I had a pet hamster named OJ. That's a whole different story, though. And a tragic ending as well. But growing up in Jacksonville, I was actually almost a Jacksonville Colts fan. I was at the Gator Bowl with my dad when Irsay flew in on the 50-yard line and said, "I'm bringing the Colts to Jacksonville." And, of course, we didn't get that. By the time Jacksonville got the Jaguars, I was in Baltimore. I was in Westminster. And I then became the most hated man in Westminster because I was a Jaguars fan from day one, and people in this area were not fond of the Jacksonville Jaguars because we stole Baltimore's team, apparently. And ever since then, I've loved the Jaguars and absolutely hated the Baltimore Ravens because, well, they stole the Cleveland Browns.
All right. That's a heck of a story. Let's jump right into it, brother. So we all have that person that we dated that we keep coming back to, even though we know it's only going to end in heartbreak. And, man, Leonard Fournette is that girl for me. I drafted him in fantasy his rookie year, and I've been hooked ever since. I went back to the well his sophomore year, and obviously he burned me. He only played in 8 games that year. But, of course, I can't quit him, so I hopped back on last year. And although his numbers look great by the end of the season, 1,150 yards rushing, 500 yards receiving, he only had 3 touchdowns. And almost half of his total rushing yards came in a 4-game span between weeks 4 and 7. So more than half of his games, he rushed for 66 yards or less. Jacksonville already declined his 5th-year option, and now he wants to get paid like a top-shelf running back, but I can't see that happening. There's been trade rumors forever, but next up on the depth chart is Raquel Armstead, and I doubt many of our listeners have even heard that poor guy's name. So what's going to happen with Fournette, and what is the future of the Jacksonville running game?
Well, you know how this past, leadership of the Jaguars was with Tom Coughlin, and that was a complete debacle. I mean, he's definitely not – Fournette's not going to fit into this game plan at all that they're going to run. I still think he gets traded somewhere probably in the preseason or before the trade deadline. He's not useful to this team right now. I'm like you. I loved him. I'm an SEC football guy. I love college football, and I was ecstatic when they drafted him. But it's the guy. I'm like you. I'm a fantasy football guy with him. Loved him. Went with him last year. You're right. No touchdowns. Never a touchdown. It was the most frustrating guy I ever had in my league. 3, exactly. I hope they trade him. I don't know who they get. I don't care who they get.
Is Raquel Armstead the answer, though?
I don't know if he is or not, but I tell you what, running backs are a dime a dozen now. They're going to find someone, Jim, out there that you can fit the scheme that they run. Just plug someone in.
All right.
All right, I'm going to switch to the other side of the ball here, the defense. Now, it wasn't too long ago, only 3 years ago, you guys were on the verge of a Super Bowl. I mean, you guys, in my mind, you guys still should have played my Eagles in that Super Bowl 52. You guys had that game wrapped up against the Patriots, and then –
It was a fumble, you know.
Yeah, things got kind of weird there in the third and fourth quarter, but hey.
The Miles Jack fumble recovery, that's what went wrong.
Yeah.
He called back. Oh, brutal.
Yeah, so it wasn't that long ago. That defense was tops in the league. But, I mean, I don't watch too many Jaguars games, but I'm looking at the roster. I mean, no more Jalen Ramsey, no more A.J. Boye, no Calais Campbell, no Marcel Darius. You guys still have Miles Jack, and then you still have Yannick. I think
Kind of,
yeah. I don't. If you think Fournette's getting traded, then I mean he probably has to get traded as well because he's already came out and spoke out against the owner and everything else. So defense doesn't have a lot of guys. I mean, you guys did draft a few guys on defense that I think are pretty good. You got Henderson from Florida. You have Chason from LSU. They're young.
I mean, I feel like the Jaguars draft great every year, so I'm a horrible person to ask.
Yeah.
But I felt like this was great. I love those defensive draft picks. The first 3 or 4 rounds was all defense for those guys. And look, they're going to be young and they're going to suck and they're going to win like 3 games this year. And
I told you.
It is what it is. And
I told you.
Trevor Lawrence, hey, but I love Gardner Minshew too. So.
All right, so I was going to ask you. I mean, it just seems like this defense took a complete 360. So you just think the defense. I mean, I was going to ask you if you think they're going to be good enough to keep you guys in some games, but I guess the answer is no.
No chance.
No. Well,
I mean, I really think the offense is actually half decent.
Yeah, they could be.
I mean, if Gardner Minshew can be just above average, I think the receivers are underrated. Young tight end talent might be good, might not be, but they are good. And then, like I said, I think any running back can fit in any scheme at these days. So.
Yeah, I just think your defense is a little young.
I'm kind of cold on the guy, but if he does suck, I'll take what happens next year with any day of the week.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, not to kick you while you're down, but before the show, I had the Jaguars going 3-13 and getting the number 2 pick in the draft. So it seems like you're on board with that. So
yeah, I actually hope you're wrong. I need him to get the first pick in the draft.
Well, hey, look. If you're trading Fournette and you trade Yannick, I mean, You'll have enough picks probably to move up regardless if you're in the top
It's
5.
true. All right, Doug. I love where this is headed. I'm going to try to pick you up a little bit with this next question. It basically runs, right into what Brian was talking about. But this offseason, the Jaguars had a lot of holes. You lost defensive linemen, like he said, Marcel Darius, Calais Campbell. You lost Jalen Ramsey. And you need to boost a lot of different places. But you went out, you signed a couple of D linemen, Al Woods and Rodney Gunter. They're not household names, but they can play a little bit. And then, in my personal opinion, I agree with you. I think you crushed the draft. I think you had a top 4 or 5 draft class out of everybody. You took Henderson and Chason, like Brian talked about. Then in the second round, you took Laviska Shenault. You grabbed Davon Hamilton, a D lineman from Ohio, who was second on Ohio State behind Chase Young for sacks last year. And I love the Shaquille Quarterman pick, linebacker for Miami. He was a team captain and a tackling machine. And then you go out and you take Colin Johnson. Now, receiver's not a huge need for you, especially after taking Laviska Shenault. But Colin Johnson's 6'6" from Texas.
Huge.
Right. You made I think you had 12 draft picks in total, I believe. I just highlighted the ones that I love. Now, when I look at Jacksonville, personally, I see a young team. I think y'all have talent, okay? Feel a little better about yourself. And I think you can develop into a playoff team again. I think you need to address the running game. We need to find out about Gardner Minshew. Is he the guy? Maybe you need somebody else. But, I mean, where do you see the Jaguars in, let's say, 2-3 years?
I think they could be a legitimate playoff contender in 3 years. I mean, they did it with Blake Bortles. I mean, anything's possible. This defense looks just as good as the defense it did 5 years ago. It could be Henderson's a phenomenal player. I mean, he's Ramsey without the loud mouth. Hopefully, although the day he got drafted, I was very scared by his response. I was like, oh no. If you recall his, he almost seemed like he did not want to be drafted by the Jaguars when they called his name. It was a little odd. You need to go back and watch it. It's very strange. But the guy is, I mean, I like him more than Ramsey, mostly because I'm a Gators fan, so you can tell that's what I think of Ramsey as well.
Nice. So you kind of touched on my next question here a little bit. All right. You said you like Gardner Minshew. He's kind of like an anomaly. I mean, he was a 6th round pick. Now, look, I don't know. This is the first time we've ever spoken, but we and Bobby both live in Eastern North Carolina. I went to ECU, and Gardner Minshew, all right, he got benched at ECU, who completely sucked. All right. He was 3-14 at ECU, and I probably watched every one of those games, unfortunately. So my question to you is Gardner Minshew the guy you think long-term, or if they go 3-13, like you said, are they taking Trevor Lawrence or somebody else from
I love Gardner Minshew. I hope they go 16-0 and he does it. That would be the greatest thing ever. I mean, that guy is he will stop all London rumors at that point if that guy can be a superstar for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be realistic as well. I mean, as a full-time starter, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. And if he goes 3-13, I'm all in on Trevor Lawrence. Let that guy come to Jacksonville. But let's don't forget, I think Joe Flacco lost to Towson State.
Yeah, he did.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
well, look,
I can't discount Minshew. I mean, that guy led the league, led college football in passing. So
I do like him. I just wish he could have put it together at ECU. He left here.
I hear you.
He left here and went to Washington State with Mike Leach, and then next thing you know, he's trying to become a Heisman winner and everything else. And the guy got benched for a 3-9 team. So maybe I'll just blame it on the coaching. But look, I do like Minshew. I mean, he did have a good year. I mean, he had 3,200 yards and 21 touchdowns.
I mean, he should have been the rookie of the year, in my opinion. But
he played a heck of a lot better than anyone thought he would.
He did,
he really did.
I mean, for his sake, I don't know. I kind of hope he does pretty good, but you never know. If you're sitting top 3, you're not going to pass on a quarterback. So
I just feel like we need characters like that in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's true.
He is different. Yeah, he's a different guy.
All right, Doug, I got one more for you.
All right.
It's my understanding that you enjoy firing up the smoker and going low and slow with some meats. Is that true?
That's it's my I love doing it. I'm in the process of trying to actually open a restaurant here at where I'm working now. I do a lot of barbecue catering events. I do catering, all that kind of fun stuff.
Well, first off, I wish you the best with all of that. I've been smoking for a few years, and I get calls and texts all the time from buddies who are like, "Hey, man, I got a smoker now. It's so easy to just plug it in and let it go." I then informed them that they, in fact, have an outdoor oven and not a real smoker.
Yeah,
I'm a charcoal and a wood guy.
100%.
No ifs, ands, or buts. Okay, there's my question. What about you? What's your deal?
I shame people who use gas or pellets. It's an embarrassment to mankind. It's awful.
Well, I feel like you feel more strongly about that than your Jaguars.
Yes, I definitely. I'm all wood or charcoal. Look, there's some great smokers out there that if you want to sit and forget it, they exist that way with charcoal. So that's a cop out. It just drives me nuts. I can't even take it.
Ooh, all right, Doug is fired up.
That fires me up. Yeah.
Barbecue. Pitmasters. So my last question for you. You said you were an SEC football fan. Now, I think I added you on Facebook as a friend. I think it said you're a Florida Gators fan.
Yes.
Correct? So
Go Gators.
All right. So my question to you is, who's the best Florida Gator of all time, Tim Tebow or Emmitt Smith?
Oh, how about this one? My favorite, personally,
All right.
Danny Werfel.
All right.
Then Tim Tebow.
Okay.
Then Emmitt Smith. And then Steve Spurrier.
Okay.
All right.
I'm a Danny Werfel fan, but yes, Tim
you?
Tebow over Emmitt Smith.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I was. I guess I was in college at the time Tim Tebow was lighting the world on fire, and he's probably one of the best
college players of all time.
College players I've ever seen. I mean, I remember watching him every Saturday and was like, man, this guy's awesome.
He's the greatest collegiate athlete of all time, in my opinion. I mean, if you're gonna rename the Heisman, that's the guy.
Okay. Yeah.
You have that argument for sure.
Yeah.
Doug, it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks a lot for coming on. We appreciate it, especially while you're working.
Yeah, right.
I'm not really working. I got off like 4 hours ago. I just decided to hang out and drink before you guys called in.
I got you, man.
All right, Doug.
Hey, enjoy, buddy. Thanks a lot, man. Go Jags.
Guys, thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
man. Take it easy. All right, we're back. We have our cheesehead here on the screen, JJ Slasarski. He's I don't know. I mean, to me, he's a cousin to me. I call him cousin JJ. Yeah. He's been family to my wife Britt for a while, and we've been together for years. So I've probably known JJ going on, I don't know, probably 16, 17 years, probably since you were just a little guy.
Yeah. He's a complete stranger for me, for those keeping track.
How old are you now? Like 30? What are you, like 30?
Turned 31 this month.
So. All right, so I've probably known you since you were about 13 or 14, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe longer.
Now you got more kids than me and everything else. So all grown up.
Yeah,
3 kids. So yeah, just had your third son, right? Or not third son, but third kid and second son.
Yep.
So yeah, congratulations on that. I haven't talked to you since then. So
thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. First question for you here, Mr. Cheesehead.
All right, man. What you got?
You guys got last year in free agency, you guys picked up Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith. They were both pretty solid last year for you. Zadarius Smith led the NFL in pressures with 93. He had 13 and a half sacks. Preston Smith had 12 sacks. Do you think that was just a one-year deal, or do you think these guys can sustain that and bring that into this year? Because if not, I don't know how defense is going to do this year if those guys aren't putting up those numbers.
Yeah. I hope not, 1. But 2, I don't think so, especially from Z. Preston Smith, we'll see. I don't know. He seemed to taper off at the end of the year last year, so I hope that gets corrected. But Z seems like he's a he's on fire. You know what I mean? So he has a good leadership, good presence in the locker room. I feel like he's a good presence on the field. Obviously, 13 and a half sacks, all the pressures. So, yeah, I think that they continue that pace, if not make it better.
All right, yeah. Well, I looked into it, and they were the first duo since Reggie White and Bryce Pop in 1993 to have double-digit sacks in the same year for the Packers. So,
Yep.
we'll see if they can do it again.
Yeah, I hope so. And
All
Rashawn
right.
Gary, too, stepping up. Hopefully he helps out too. So
I got you.
All right, JJ. So this, leads into my question. I spent some time looking at the Packers defense from last year, and I almost fell asleep.
yeah,
I mean, you would talk about your middle of the road defense, middle of the pack, no pun intended. I mean, it was boring. And the coaching staff did almost nothing to help the defense. I mean, you went out and you signed Christian Kirksey, but I don't think he's catapulting you into a top 10 defense. Now, I like your secondary. I think they probably underperformed last year. But what do you all have to do to kick it up a notch and excite folks around the league?
I think it comes up to our I don't want to say our front five because I love our outside guys, but our front three. Our defensive line is, there's non-existent with Dean Lowry out there and Lancaster. They're nobodies that really just fill positions at this point. Secondary, I agree with you. I love our secondary, especially our starting four guys. You have Adrian Amos and Savage in the back, and then you have Kevin King and Jai Alexander, which I think Alexander only gets better from here. I mean, the guy's been outstanding for 2 years, and he only gets better. I think he just keeps growing. Same with Kevin King. He's been on the same level. I don't think he gets any better, but I don't think he gets any worse. So finding them guys help, though. Like finding a nice nickel corner would have been, I think, a good move by us, especially finding a middle linebacker. Letting Blake Martinez go and signing Christian Kirksey that's
Scary.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I don't think you got anyone better. You didn't upgrade that position at all. Letting Blake Martinez walk, leading the team in tackles. I know we didn't have the best run stop, but like I said, that goes back to the front three guys. And
Yeah, man. So I love being right. And when Adrian Amos was coming out in a draft, I was right. I loved him. I was all about him. So I'm pumped that you guys got him.
Yeah.
But now I hate being wrong, but I'll gladly admit it. Jair Alexander, I was not sure about him. I was not on that train. I thought the Packers just signed him because he ran such a fast 40 time. I think it was like a 4.31 or like something crazy.
Right.
But he has proved me wrong. He's legit and he can wind up being one of the best corners in the league. I think if, like you said, he continues to develop. So you have a solid secondary there. I hope, like you said, the guys down the trenches can pick up the slack.
Yeah, that's where I think it all is for us. It's in the middle there, but yeah, Jai Alexander's been he's been a blessing, I think, especially stepping up. Going from Charles Woodson to
Mm-hmm. He's a stud. I like him. Where's Amos is from? Where is he from? Penn State, right?
Penn State, yep.
Yeah.
Penn State, yeah.
Bears drafted him. I was hoping.
Okay.
I wasn't a fan of Amos for a long time, but
Yeah.
Not for a few years.
yeah.
Yeah, the Bears took him, I think, in the second round, I think, and I was hoping, our Eagles would grab him, but that obviously didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, all right. Enough talk about the defense. That's boring. We're gonna go to the draft here because
Oh, great.
the draft might be one of my favorite sports. I don't know, televised deals that I watch every
Yes.
year, man. I love watching the draft.
Yes.
I like watching the Masters. I like watching the Super Bowl, obviously, and football every week. But I love the draft, man. And you guys draft Jordan Love in the first round.
Blew it.
All right. You guys got Aaron Rodgers. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and it's just crazy that Aaron Rodgers pretty much got Aaron Rodgers in this draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts? You're sitting there watching the draft. It seems like a toss-up, like, all right, we're going to pick a receiver. We're going to give Rodgers a first-round talent at receiver. And not only that, they move up 4 picks to draft Love. So you don't just wait for him.
Right.
You move up to get him.
Yep.
Which to me is even more shocking. And then just with the way Rodgers is, he's not the most I don't know. He's not the most lovable guy. He's a little weird, maybe you could say.
Yeah.
His family doesn't even like him.
I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's not too happy about them picking a quarterback in the first round. I mean, you guys were in the NFC Championship game last year. You went 13-3, and then you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. So just give me your thoughts about that. And do you think the Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay is coming to an end soon here?
Well, I hate to say it, but yeah. He's signed through another, 3 years, right? I think 2023.
I think so.
He'll be
yeah.
40 years
I
old.
think that's right.
Yeah, he'll be 40 years old. I know when he's done his contract. So whether they trade him at the end there or if they just don't re-sign him, I know he wants to play after 40, and I would love to have him on the team, but it's literally what they're doing, what they did with Favre, right? They brought Rodgers in, had him on the bench for 3 years, and there's a lot more stuff going on with Favre, though. I mean, all his in and out, but this is just I don't get the move. I especially don't get moving up to get him. That made no sense at all to me. But
well, that's the thing.
yeah.
I mean, that's the thing with me. I mean, I think he would have been there if you guys just waited for him. So why give up? I don't know I didn't look into what they gave up, but I'm assuming it was another pick or two. So why waste a pick or two and just I don't know. But I just don't think Rodgers. I mean, he's just not that guy. Like, I don't think he wants to answer those questions during the year, and I just think it puts.
He's not going to sit there and
I don't think he wants to talk about it, and it's just I don't know. I think it's just not good.
Now, I will say, I think Rodgers is going to blow up this year because he's just going to get pissed off and be all right, dude, this guy Love, you want to bring him in? Fine. This is what I got. This is what I'm going to do. Now, after he blows up this year, I have no idea what's in store for you. But I don't know about this Love.
But it's one of those things like, I mean, Rodgers was like, he fell in that draft when you guys got him back in whatever it was, 2003. I mean, Love is he's like a project. I mean, he had one good year at Utah State, and then I don't know.
Like you said, he would have been there. It's a total reach.
Yeah, he wasn't that great last year. No. And it's just like, I could say if it was somebody else. I mean, if it's like a Trevor Lawrence or somebody like that, you have to pick him. But I mean, I just don't know why he didn't go a receiver there, man. And just
I know.
I mean, honestly, he's like a Ryan Mallett. Like he wasn't that great, but he got drafted because of the tools that he possesses.
Like he could be good, but why waste? Why trade up and get him? I don't know. But
arm-wise, I think he has great talent. He's just got a lot of footwork issues, right? And he's just got groomed. He's got patience issues, I would say. But like I said, we'll see. And I don't think Rodgers is the guy to groom him. You know, like you said, Rodgers.
No.
So he's not going to sit there and have to be a quarterback.
All right, JJ. Everyone and their mother has been talking about the lack of attention given to the wide receivers that the Packers did this year. Obviously, Devontae Adams led Green Bay in receiving. He's one of the best receivers in the league, so that makes sense. However, the second leading receiver on the team was running back Aaron Jones.
Right.
The next leading receiver on the team was running back Jamal Williams. And the next leading receiver on the team was tight end Jimmy Graham. Finally, we get to a receiver, Allen Lazard. Right. Now, if you double Allen Lazard's receptions and yards, he still has less than Devontae Adams. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So we've talked on the show about teams who had needs, and smartly they addressed those needs via free agency, the draft, whatever. The Packers did none of that, and they entered into one of history's deepest classes for wide receivers as far as the draft is concerned, and they didn't even give a weird glance at one of them.
Nope.
What's up, dude? What's up?
I have no idea. And it was extremely disappointing to watch that entire draft and not come away with 1-2 wide receivers. I do not understand the move. I do love the Devin Funchess move. I think that's a great pickup on the offseason. But like you said, Allen Lazard was our second leading receiver, and he was behind 2 running backs and a tight end. So it's he's got to step up. MVS, about as Scantling, right, had a terrible year. Not terrible year, but I don't know what the deal with him and Rodgers' connection is. But St. Brown was hurt, right? So hopefully he comes back and can step up. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of the Funchess move, but that's not enough. You know, we don't have – we need. I feel like we need more help in the wide receiver area, and we did nothing to address it, which is not fun.
I hear you. Well, look, I thought the Eagles were getting CeeDee Lamb, and we ended up with Jalen Reagor. So I'm not too excited about that pick.
Yeah.
I'll trade you Alshon Jeffrey and his contract for a ham sandwich.
Yeah. All right, man. So I guess during our intro, I forgot to ask you. I got a two-part question here. So
Okay.
First of all, I mean, for those who are listening or for those who watch our Facebook videos, JJ lives in the southern part of New Jersey, close to Philadelphia. His dad, Max, is a diehard Eagles fan. Everybody this guy associates with is an Eagles fan. Somehow, he's a Packers fan. Obviously, you can tell by his cheesehead. So tell us why – I don't know if I ever got the story of why you're even a Packers fan. And then I got another one for you. So just explain that first, and then I'll ask you my second question.
All right. So as a Packers fan, I grew up as a kid. I was an Eagles fan and a Packers fan. My uncle, my dad obviously was a diehard Eagles fan. So I was like, yeah, I like them too. They're cool. My uncle was a diehard Packers fan. So when it came push, I guess when I got older, button heads would pop. It was fun to be a Packers fan and stuff, you know. So.
All right.
And Brett Favre was huge, right? When I was getting into football, Brett Favre was the guy. So
yeah, it's got to be tough. I mean, you gotta, man. I know your dad's probably one of the biggest Eagles fans I've ever met. So I mean, for you not to be an Eagles fan, he probably wants to punch you in the face every Sunday. But
yeah, quite. he won't watch Packers games with me.
I know. Yeah, I know he won't. So my second part here, though, I should have asked you that in the beginning, but we had to touch on that. So my second question is, with the whole deal with coronavirus, the whole world's turned upside down. What would you be more mad about, the NFL season getting shut down or the co-ed softball league getting closed?
Man, it's got to be NFL season.
All right. I thought you might go with softball, man. You've been playing that for you've
been
playing softball for like 20 years.
I'm recently retired from softball.
All right. I haven't talked to you in a while, but yeah, I mean, I guess once you have the third kid, you might have to give up softball, huh?
Missed last season, so.
All right. It was good while it lasted. We had a few good years there back, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
It was a while ago, yeah.
Good times.
Yep.
All right, buddy, last one for me. So it's my understanding you're a big hockey fan.
That is correct.
All right. Unfortunately, I've never had an opportunity to sit down with anyone who really knew the game and could teach me the game, the nuances and all that stuff, because I feel like I would love hockey. But I just haven't had that opportunity. However, I don't need to watch any hockey ever in my whole life to know that Wayne Gretzky is the GOAT. And I'm not sure there's really any argument otherwise. I think he holds 61 NHL records, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And now of those records, I think there's only one that seems to be in any danger of being broken, at least anytime soon, and that's his career goals record of 894, I think it is. Alex Ovechkin, if he can score 34 goals over the next 7 seasons, which he's already done in his career, but if he can continue doing that, then he will break it. So are there any of Wayne Gretzky's records that you don't think will ever be broken? For example, like Cy Young in baseball, he has 511 wins as a starting pitcher. That's 25 wins a year for 25 years. That record will never be broken, especially with how the game's played today. Are there any of Gretzky's records you think will never be touched?
Oh, man. I really don't know, honestly, because I'm not really too familiar on all his records. I know he has, all of them. How far out he is on them, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure his assist record is pretty ridiculous, right? He has – the numbers he has for assists is, outrageous. That one, I think, might never be touched. But But yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Although I am excited to see Ovechkin break his goals record because I'm a big Ovechkin fan, so that'd be pretty sweet. I think if he does do that. But yeah, man, I'm not 100% sure about that. Sorry.
No, it's cool. And Gretzky came out and he said, like, oh yeah, I think Ovechkin can break it. Like, I'm really rooting for him. And it's like, well, yeah, but you still have 60 records after that. Like,
You break one.
yeah.
We'll have to have Dustin Johnson on the show one time, maybe his son-in-law to tell us how hot his daughter is and
right.
what record's going to get broken.
All right. Well, JJ, nice having you on the show.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right,
yeah, good
Jay.
stuff, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and I think the Eagles play the old Packers again this year. So
yep, they do.
You need to make your way down to Greenville for a viewing party.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have you back on and we'll discuss that one. But thanks for coming on. Good to see you, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yep.
See you, JJ.
All right, another honest opinion on the Packers there. Another honest take, like Joey with the Giants. JJ
Doug
keeps it real.
Doug with the Jaguars.
Yeah,
rooting for a worse place finish.
Look, I thought I was gonna have to argue with him about the 3-13, but
no, he let you have it, man.
he made it easy. He tossed it up for me, and I didn't even have to hint about that. He came with that, so he just solidified my bold prediction there from a Jags fan.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Another solid show. You got anything else you want to throw in here?
No, I mean, another good show. Like you said earlier, we'll have our stuff on Podbean. We'll upload it on Facebook. Again, I think we made
your friends of the group.
Yeah, I think we made a pretty good push last week. I think we added 20 or 30 people from last week, so it must have been Terrence Copper. So we'll go with that.
We'll be selling some T-shirts too. If you want one, let us know.
Yeah, exactly. I've had a few people reach out to me about the T-shirts. So has Bobby. If you guys want one, we have plenty left. So yeah, let us know, and we'll see you again next week. We'll have another NFL guy next week, Super Bowl champ.
Right.
Maybe we'll throw some hint. We'll do like a little trivia during the week. Maybe, I don't know.
I like it. We should.
He's not
get
like
people guessing.
Yeah, it's not Charles Woodson or Aaron Rodgers, but yeah, he played for the Packers and he won a Super Bowl. So we'll leave it at that.
Oh yeah, and started for the Packers
in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll leave it at that, and maybe we'll make a few Facebook posts, little hints, get some chatter going on, see if anybody could guess it. Maybe we'll send them a free shirt if you can guess who's our guest. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting, and I'm excited to have that him on next week, and it should be a good show.
All right, man. Yep. Solid week this week. Good talking with you, brother. I'll see you in a week.
All right, man. I'll talk to you next week. Good stuff.